Hello, this is Spellswise MTG with episode 3, looking at targeted removal. So how much targeted removal are we going to want? I usually run between 5 and 7 pieces. Some decks want more, some want less. Just go off what you think. Never run less than 5 because you always want to be dealing with things whenever possible. So when we play targeted removal, what do we want? So the first question we're asking is, why do we want targeted removal? So a good reason to have targeted removal is to remove combo pieces, card draw engines, creatures attacking you to protect yourself. So if someone's just played a large creature with haste, you can stop yourself from taking 12, for example. And it's just generally helpful to stop people from winning a lot of the time, or killing you outright. So in card targeted removal, what are we going to look for? So we're going to look for modal removal. So this can target multiple permanent types. So examples of this would be Bedevil, Beast Within and Chaos Warp. Red and black are particularly bad at removing enchantments. Black not being able to remove artifacts as well. Unsable Obelisk is very good at removing artifacts and enchantments in black. But Beast Within and Chaos Walk can remove any permanent, along with some blue spells which bounce. Green is probably the best at removing artifacts and enchantments. So also what you're looking for is low CMC, so you want the removal to be quite low cost, so it doesn't really take away from your turn. So good examples of this would be things like Pongify and Nature's Claim, and then Swords to Plowshares or Path to Exile. They do have downsides to them, like Pongify giving your opponent a 3/3 monkey, or ape I think it is, and Nature's Claim allowing your opponent to gain 4 life. But those are very small downsides and are totally worth it if you're just going to save up some mana at the end of your turn, like 1 or 2, and you can remove something and stop someone from winning. Another thing you look for is hitting multiple targets. So of course when you in a 1v1, single target removal is going to be fine. But when you're in a multiplayer game, for every opponent you're not hitting, you'll be down a card, and the opponents who aren't being hit will be up a card. So we want spells to remove as many permanents as possible. Board Wipe's very good at this, but we'll be going on to that in another episode. But in this episode we'll be going on about things which only affect you. So things like Windgrace's Judgment destroys something from each opponent. Grasp of Fate does the same. Decimate and Casualties of War destroy most permanent types, including lands, so you can get rid of Gaia's Cradles and Sarah's Sanctums and Dark Depths, for example. And then Aethergale can just bounce permanents, and most of these can hit any permanent really, or can hit at least one of them, which allows you to deal with the board appropriately. So another thing is them being instant speed. I like to have some ones which destroy multiple permanents or bounce them or just remove them, and some instant speed ones. So instant speed can protect yourself from attacking creatures. So if someone's swinging a 12 at you, you can stop yourself from taking a quarter of your life total, and you can stop yourself from dying to combos, and allows you to deal with the board anytime you want. Obviously counter spells are me the best because things never enter the battlefield, but I don't really class that as removal. I class it as disruption or protection, depending on what it's in there to be designed to use for. So destroy often isn't the best option for a removal. Sometimes in certain decks bouncing, and in most decks exiling is often better. So Swords to Plowshares and Path to Exile do a great job at this because they exile stuff, meaning people can't recur their creatures. And Chaos Warp shuffles it in, so it's very unlikely to see it again. in real decks, bouncing is very good because you can bounce stuff to your opponent's hand and then wheel it away, so they won't have access to it anymore. Some of the best removal for commanders, things like Darksteel Mutation, Song of the Dryads, and the recently reprinted and rephrased Oubliette. These don't the person with the commander you're targeting can't zone their commander, so they can't recast it afterwards, and it's just sort of stuck there and you can't really do anything with it. Unless they can destroy, of course, the artifact or enchantment, it's just sort of stuck there and can't really do much. Imprisoned in the Moon also does it. That hits more than Darksteel Mutation, and Song of the Dryads just hits a permanent. So also use what works in your deck, for example. So obviously wheels, what I said earlier about the bouncing. In Blink and Recursion decks, you'll probably want it on creatures, so like Duplicant and Ravenous Chupacabra or Necrotal. And in Spellslinger decks, of course, you really want it on spells. What else could you have? +1/+1 counters, you probably want it on creatures which care about +1/+1 counters. Like, can't think of one off the top of your head, but obviously just think about where you're putting stuff. So like, if your deck wants to kill a lot of your opponent's things, obviously the down's going to be very good because it makes you the zombies, which you can sacrifice yourself, like Crash the Blood-Braided decks. And also sometimes include them in your land base, like Maze of Ith can be classed as semi-removal because you can protect yourself at a pinch. And things like Blast Zone are more board wipey, but they're still classed as removing your opponent's stuff, and are very selective as well. I think that is all for today, so thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Goodbye.